Welcome to Neutral Gaming. Today's M+ episode showcases a Guardian Druid POV. The dungeon we are running is a +19 the other side. Affixes are tyrannical, sanguine, storming and tormented. This dungeon has seen many different routes ever since Season 2 has started. My recommendations are using bloodlust correctly, going heavy in Ardenwald and adding a little invisible juice to the run. Following my route, you don't need to perform a perfect run to time this key. We had 1 minute and 15 seconds penalty due to deaths and still finished with more than 1 minute left on the timer. Before we start, I would appreciate a like, a comment or a subscription. This will help me out a ton and you will see more M+ routes in the future. In many runs I see bloodlust being used on the first pull since a later usage does not finish the cooldown until you reach Hakkar. Since my route plays dealer Xyexa aka the Ardenwald boss first, I have the option to vary a bit with the bloodlust placement. In this run I decided to use it on the second pull. This way it is possible to add the tormentor on the right hand side in an already quite challenging pull. Taking this little detour provides you with the first anima power before heading towards Xyexa. The next tormentor awaits you on the platform before you walk up the stairs to Ardenwald. Depending on the group's confidence you can add some trash while fighting him. After you got your second anima power you can proceed to the part of the dungeon that you will clear heavily. Why is that? Because the trash there is relatively harmless compared to the rest of the dungeon and you also have quite a lot of space to kite. Also, the trash density is very high which gives many chances to make large pulls that will ultimately save time. And you guys know, as a druid you love big pulls. As a rule of thumb, whenever you have incarnation up, you pull as much trash as you can aggro within the first 10 seconds of your cooldown. This leaves your damage dealers with 20 seconds of heavy AoE time before you want to start to kite a bit. This depends on the pull size. Killing all sorts of birds here will let us skip more dangerous and time-consuming trash later. Another benefit of doing the little starter detour and then entering Ardenwald is having 3 anima powers already at about 8 minutes into the dungeon. This means you will profit every boss and most of the trash from it. Xyexa is one of the more dangerous bosses in the other side. Therefore, you want to have bloodlust on this boss, especially in tyrannical weeks. As a tank, make sure you don't eat explosions early in the fight. This will leave a stacking damage over time effect on you that seriously hurts. You don't want to get more than 2 stacks of this, or your healer will have to do tons of spot healing. Other than that, you want to position the boss good for your melees. What I typically do is always moving clockwise. This way the melees get some sort of idea what your next move will be when the boss drops the next set of bombs. Typically, the platform in front of mechagon is one large pull. You can even include the patrolling mask if it is nearby. In this run I decided to split the pull up since I had to use incarnation at the end of the last boss fight. Also, the timer was looking quite good, so there was no need to hurry. A good marker is 20 minutes for the first boss kill. In mechagon itself it is very linear. First you play the drill solo. Afterwards you engage the tormentor. Since I had incarnation up here, I added the mechanical dog and the spinners into the tormentor. Normally you can't do this since you use incarnation the platform before. On the lubricators you want to make sure to have a kick for the heal. I typically always save my kick for this and let the damage dealers deal with all the other casts. You can pull 2 lubricators at a time, but you need to coordinate the interrupts very well then. Millhouse and melee are straightforward. On Millhouse you want to make sure to stand in the beams also. You want to interrupt him as many times as possible. He is not too dangerous regarding tank damage. Melee is hitting the tank much harder. Especially when she casts Buzzsaw, you want to have defensives up. Your damage dealers or healer will take care of the bombs most of the time. However, if you are fast enough you can already defuse them in melee range. Since we have done a lot of trash earlier in Ardenwald, we skip a lot of trash on the way to Hakkar. There is a big debate going if it's better to skip mechagon trash or Hakkar trash. The mechagon trash is relatively harmless compared to the Hakkar trash in my opinion. Also, the aisle to Hakkar is much shorter, meaning a simple invis is always enough for every class. In mechagon you will need an extra movement cooldown to make it entirely to the end. Lastly, the chances people die from blobs in the hurry in mechagon is much larger. So my pick will always be skipping Hakkar trash. It is simply the safer call in my opinion. Hakkar is not too dangerous. As long as your single target damage is somewhat above average you can easily kill him due to the changes to his blood barrier. If you really want to play it safe, you simply focus his adds all the time. This increases the overall fight duration, but it will reduce his shield significantly. Defeating Hakkar you have no other trash left to play. However, your way to the last boss is blocked due to skipping before. There are two ways to deal with this now. The first possibility is having a rogue to shroud or being able to stealth yourself. As second option you can choose death. Good thing is, once you release you spawn in front of the last boss. This way it is more or less not even a time loss since you don't have to walk to the last boss. Muehzala is the last boss of the dungeon, will hit you hard as Guardian Druid. His damage is mainly not physical, which means we Guardians are not the best tanks for it. Chaining survival instincts, incarnation, frenzied regeneration and baskin still lets you manage this boss quite well. Make sure you always have some sort of defensive when he casts Soul Crusher. In the intermission phase you want to have your Convoke up. Using Heart of the Wild and a Boomy Convoke lets you pop about 10k damage per second on the ad. This way you don't have to worry at all if your healer does enough damage. Even in tyrannical weeks you can finish the intermission quite easily. That a circumflex Euro-S about it, my friends. I hope you had fun with this 9.1 Tormentor route of the other side. Especially playing lots of trash in Ardenwald and skipping Hakkar trash is the key to win here in my opinion. Let me know what you think about the content and editing. Also like, subscribe and all that stuff. We all need some support from time to time. See you next time.